Panama Residency versus Paraguay Residency. Which is better? Today I'm going to analyze two of the most prominent and interesting residency programs in Latin America. You can judge for yourself which of these two options suits you the best. Let's get started talking about the requirements for you to qualify for Panamanian residency and Paraguayan residency. Panama is home to the Friendly Nations Visa Program, one of the most successful, longest-standing residency programs in the entire world. Citizens of over 50 countries may qualify for this specific residency program. If you're from an eligible country like the United States, Canada, any country that is part of the European Union, United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, and many other countries, you can legally immigrate to Panama through Panama's Friendly Nations Visa Program. Now, with this program, you have several visa options to choose from. There is residency by real estate purchase, residency by company formation, and a residency by employment. Residency by real estate purchase, I think this is a very easy concept to understand. You would have to purchase a piece of real estate in Panama to successfully obtain your residency permit through the Friendly Nations Visa Program. Now, the amount that you have to spend on the real estate has increased a lot in recent years, so it is not one of the most popular options. However, you can get residency by real estate purchase when you invest in an apartment, house, or even a piece of land. Now, the good part of this program is that it gets you permanent residency fairly quickly. On the downside, you would have to invest a hefty amount to qualify for the Friendly Nations Visa Program. Residency by company formation is probably the most sought after method immigrants choose because, first of all, they have to incorporate their very own Panamanian corporation, create an employment contract between the Panamanian corporation themselves. They have an employment contract, they are employed by the Panamanian corporation, and they can successfully immigrate to Panama this way. So if you're interested in relocating to Panama, starting a business that is generating money from abroad or that is generating money from within Panama's borders, then this is a fantastic option for you. If you're an entrepreneur and you have intentions of continuing your entrepreneurial journey in Panama, then this is most likely the best option. It is one of the least expensive options to immigrate to Panama and stay in the country legally while having a business in place that makes you money. To qualify for residency by company formation, you would have to incorporate a business in Panama. There's several company structures for you to choose from. That would be the first step. Second step would be for yourself to become an employee of your own Panamanian corporation, and obviously you would have to obtain a residency permit through employment. So there are two processes here. There's the company formation, that is its own process, and then also the residency application for yourself. But going down this path, you could also bring in a spouse. Let's say you want to make your wife an employee of your Panamanian corporation. You can do that, and you can both obtain a residency permit this way. Or let's say you have a girlfriend and you're not married yet. You can also bring her in, make her an employee of your Panamanian corporation, get her a work permit and a visa. Or if you're married and you don't want to make your wife an employee, you can just get a dependent visa for her or him. And the last option would be, of course, for you to work for a Panamanian corporation that you don't own. So that's quite simple. You go apply for a job in Panama, you become an employee, and have your employer help you with all these documents, right? With your residency permit and with the employment pass and all of that. Now, for Paraguay, things look very differently. Paraguay also has a concept that could be referred to as the Paraguay Friendly Nations Visa Program, even though it does not have this specific name, but it is a residency program that is predicated on you being from an eligible country that enjoys visa-free access to Paraguay. And if that's the case, you can apply for Paraguayan residency without the need to prove economic solvency, without the need to incorporate a business, without the need to work for a company in Paraguay. You can legally and effectively immigrate to Paraguay. As long as you have a clean criminal record and you are from an eligible country, then you can enjoy this path to residency in Paraguay. Paraguay is also home to residency by company formation, residency by investment. With this specific program that Paraguay currently offers, you would have to invest $70,000 into a local corporation that is incorporated within Paraguay's borders. And this corporation of yours, it must not only be active at a time of immigrating to Paraguay, but it must remain active for years to come, because it is the path to permanent residency. And the Paraguayan authorities are going to look at a few things here, right? So first of all, the first requirement is for you to have at least $70,000 to invest into a business in Paraguay. You can't just buy a residential property, residential real estate, and live in it yourself. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to invest the money into a Paraguayan corporation, and you must actively be putting the money at risk. You don't have to invest the $70,000 up front. You can spread it out over a number of years to fulfill the requirements set by the Paraguayan authorities. On top of that, you must employ Paraguayans. So to qualify and remain compliant with all the requirements, you have to employ people, you have to pay them a salary, you have to pay them the 13th salary, right? You have to meet all these requirements, and you cannot break up this commitment that you have with the country of Paraguay. Now, if you're willing to do that, residency by company formation, residency by investment is a great option. I would only recommend this option if you are an entrepreneur and you are looking to build a business in Paraguay. If that's the case, by all means, go ahead and incorporate this business, because not only will you be able to obtain residency, but you also have a business in Paraguay that will hopefully make you a lot of money. From a residency perspective, I think that both Panama and Paraguay are fantastic options to people from eligible countries who want to immigrate to these two beautiful Latin American countries and make them a better place. Now, a big component as to whether or not Panama residency or Paraguay residency is the better option for you is, of course, the question surrounding the cost of living crisis. Panama is definitely the more expensive country out of the two. Panama is a lot more expensive than Paraguay, and that has a number of reasons. First of all, the Panamanian Balboa, which is the local currency in Panama, it is pegged to the United States dollar, making it one of the more consistent, more stable currencies in Latin America. However, it also led to a more expensive cost of living. Everything has its pros and cons. Panama wants stability, and that's why it chose the United States dollar. Another reason why Panama is more expensive than Paraguay is that Panama is not very self-sufficient in many categories. Panama does not have super cheap electricity. It does not have super cheap food. You know, a lot of the required everyday items that you see in Panama, a lot of the basic necessities are actually imported from other countries, making life in Panama more expensive than in Paraguay. However, life in Panama is still a lot more affordable than life in America, than life in Canada, and even Australia. So to live in Panama, I highly recommend for you to bring a middle class or upper middle class income with you. And of course, we're talking about local standards here. If you have, I would say, $2,000 to $3,000 in monthly income, you can live a good middle class life in Panama. If you have more than that, if you have, say, $40,000 to $80,000 annually, then you can live very well in Panama, including Panama's metropolitan Panama City. What's the cost of living like in Paraguay? Paraguay is one of the most self-sufficient countries, not only in Latin America, but across the entire world. Why is that? Well, Paraguay is one of the largest producers of hydroelectric energy in the entire world. 100% of Paraguay's energy comes from hydroelectric energy. It comes from within Paraguay's border, making it one of the best countries for businesses that are highly predicated on reasonable energy costs, but also for an individual. So if you're looking to live in Paraguay, if you're looking to consume a lot of electricity, if you like to keep your home cool, if you like to live in a mansion or in a big apartment, a big house, then you will benefit by moving to Paraguay because you're not going to pay a lot of money in electricity. Also, food and water are extremely affordable in Paraguay. Paraguay is home to very fertile farmland. And you can see that by the amount of beef that is being exported from Paraguay into many geographic locations worldwide. A lot of the beef is not really recognized because it isn't sold as Paraguayan beef. Paraguay is home to one of the best meats in the entire world, and you will see this as soon as you step foot here and try eating some Paraguayan barbecue. Now, in terms of cost of living, I would say Paraguay beats Panama any day. What about the geographic location of the two countries? This is super important for you if you want to travel back and forth your native country or your country of residency to Paraguay or Panama. Now, Panama's location is a lot more strategic. It is just a lot more conducive for frequent air travel. If you live in the United States, Canada, or even Europe, it is just a lot easier for you to travel into Panama than it is to travel into Paraguay. Panama offers direct flights to many major US and Canadian metropolitans, plus air travel is not particularly expensive, and you're just looking at a few short hours on an airplane. If you're flying from North America into Panama, you're probably not going to spend more than 5 hours on an airplane. 2 to 5 hours is what you're looking at. If you fly from a European city into Panama, you're going to spend more on an airplane. You're going to spend anywhere from 9 to 12 hours on an airplane. Panama has direct flights to many major metropolitans across the globe, including Europe, Turkey, North America, Central America, and South America. In Paraguay's case, you don't really have a lot of international flights. Paraguay is home to very small international airports. Paraguay has direct flights to Panama and Madrid, but you're not going to get any further than that on a direct flight. You would have to do a layover in either Brazil, Panama, or Madrid. We're also often being asked about the climate. Which climate is better? Well, that's a great question. Panama is home to a tropical climate, so you're going to have humid climate all year round. Of course, you have access to Boquete, the mountain city close to Costa Rica. If you want it a little bit cooler, then that would be the option that you can enjoy when living in Panama. Now, Panama is a very small country located in Central America. It is not one of the biggest countries in the world, but the climate is definitely conducive to people who want to live a tropical lifestyle. Paraguay is home to multiple seasons, and it is far further away from the equator than Panama is. And so Paraguay does have a winter. It's usually just a week to 2 weeks long, where the weather definitely goes south and holds itself just a little bit above freezing temperature. However, in the summertime in Paraguay, it can also get very hot, humid, but most of the times you're enjoying dry weather in Paraguay. Now that we've talked about some key facts surrounding Panamanian residency and Paraguayan residency, which residency program are you going to choose? Are you interested in relocating to one of these two countries and would like to work with Nomad Elite? Great. Go to nomadelite.com and click on book a consultation. I look forward to talking with you and giving you personalized advice on these two residency programs. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate your attendance, and I look forward to welcoming you to the next video.